Hello, I'm Andre Acha with Beatrice de Cruz, and this is The Faith Perspective here on Catholic SG Radio. Now, The Faith Perspective is a place and time where we have, of course, the opportunity to discuss trending issues and events happening in and around the church and, of course, in the world.
Today, we bring you a new series featuring the Dicasteries of the Roman Curia. Now, earlier this year, we had the opportunity to meet some servants of God who are deeply involved in the work of the church through the Dicasteries. And we hope that this series helps you understand how the Catholic Church is governed and organized at the highest level. So to begin this series, you may ask, what is a dicastery? So let me tell you, a dicastery is a department or office within the Roman Curia, which assists the Pope in the exercise of his pastoral office for the good of the whole church.
And so, in understanding the roles of the dicasteries, we can see how the dicasteries implement the Pope's mission globally. They assist in shaping decisions about liturgy, the selection of bishops, doctrine, missions, family life, education, and even communications. How key decisions can affect our local church, as our local parishes are also connected to the global church. And now that we know a bit better about the role of the dicasteries of the Roman Curia, let's hear what they have to say from today's featured dicastery.
My name is Tebaldo Vinciguerra. I am a layman, married, we have 4 children. I am French and Italian citizen. I studied political sciences and international studies. I graduated in 2007 and I worked for the church a couple of years in Lima, Peru as a project manager, briefly in France with a Catholic charity in Paris. And in 2011, I started my service here at the Holy See on natural resources and ecology issues. As a teenager, I had some experiences in caves with speleology.
Oh.
And when you go really down in the darkness, especially if you turn off the headlamp on the helmet, you really discover what geology, time, and patience mean. I may add that I spent several years of my childhood in a rural area of central Italy, made of quite wild green hills, which is not far from Assisi, and the entire area is very much marked by the heritage of Saint Francis of Assisi. So I love him very much, and I also have a little, his prayer, the Canticle of Creatures, in my wallet for the last, many years. So I think all this a little bit prepared me for my service here. The majority of the dicastery staff is divided in 3 big sections. So the first one, named Listening and Dialogue, is, so simply in dialogue with the local church. This means in dialogue with the bishops, their teams, religious congregations, and so on. Whatever the topic. So they receive the joy, the hope, the request for help, the complaints, the best practices, the suggestions of the Catholic Church at local and national level. The second section is called Research and Reflection. This is where I am based. We work with the trends, with the concerns, with the requests coming from the first sections, as if they are the entry door, and we try a little bit to elaborate, to go further, to analyze the challenges to integral human development. Those challenges could be migrations, war, poor economics, trampling of human rights, as well as, in my circumstances, ecology and natural resources. So my main interlocutors are maybe universities, think tanks, whoever has some expertise on ecology and natural resources, and of course other structures of the Holy See, including the Vatican diplomacy, and the people of the church at local and national level who are working with ecological questions, usually after an initial contact with the first section. The third section of the Dicastery is called restitution and communication. So they do what you could expect from a media or communication desk, plus this idea of restitution, of giving back. That is what we have researched or proposed for the local church, maybe pastoral tools, orientations, guidelines, a letter, an event. Well, somehow they package it and help to its widespread dissemination. Then in this framework, you understand, I chiefly work on topics which are relevant for the church. What is worrying the bishops, the friars, the sisters, what they would like to implement, new project, new academic curricula, and trying very much to facilitate partnerships. I very often facilitate dialogue and exchange of ideas, resources between different teams, different countries working on similar topics. And when needed, when requested by the Holy See diplomacy, myself and my colleagues also bring the voice of the Pope, of the Holy See, in international summits on climate change, biodiversity, that kind of UN or similar meetings. Well, we are speaking in the year 2025, which is the 10th anniversary of the encyclical letter Laudato Si. So certainly there can be a very strong commitment of Catholics in Singapore, even if it is not, let's say, known to be a country of mountains or forests. You certainly understand very well water-related issues, challenges of resilience, of food supply, of reliable power supply, of maybe urban agriculture, quality of air. So cities certainly can be the theater of strong reflections around the encyclical letter Laudato Si. You asked more precisely, what can also Catholics do? One proposal would be to go deeper and deeper with the 6th chapter of the encyclical letter Laudato Si, which mentions the 3 conditions for commitment and perseverance. Those 3 conditions are education, spirituality, and culture. Somehow, Catholics in Singapore can help in crafting an answer to the terrific question, why should I care? Not so easy. Why? Because genuine religious values facing God who loves us can give us a very strong motivation. So second point would be consistency with your faith as Catholic. If you believe, then how will you act as a dad, a mom, an employee, an architect? And third idea would be maybe to read and understand the implications of one of the comments of Pope Francis: time is greater than space. Time is greater than space. So what institutions, what process of dialogue, of concertation, of listening and participation can craft social life in Singapore? How can you involve everybody, including obviously marginalized and vulnerable people, in order to take together common decisions about our common home, our common goods. Contemplation of nature, of the beauty of nature, of the mountain, the seasons, the rain, the stars, helped believers to understand how God is powerful, how mighty is our Creator, that He is really the Creator, the owner of everything. So, nature has always been understood, but even by the book of Genesis, of prophet Isaiah, of the Psalms, as certainly reflecting the goodness, the wisdom of God. Nature always had this value, this beauty, this dignity, as created by our Lord, who owns it. Still, this doesn't mean that in the past, believers have praised God also through creation, having the understanding that nature was in danger. This, we have to be careful, this is, let's say, an awareness which is widespread after World War II, quite recent in human history. So theologians, scholars, writers in previous centuries had no vision about the massive danger connected to CO2 emissions, to chemicals, to deforestation, to sea level rise that now we have. Of course, as Catholics in 2025, we build on their knowledge, their teaching, their wisdom, their sacred texts. And we can say, we love God. This has social implications. So, in loving God, in being aware of His love for us on the cross, we do our best to love our brothers and sisters who rely on natural resources, who rely on edible plants, fresh drinking water, etc., etc. And we also try to understand that creation needs to be protected. This is totally consistent with our faith, but it is, if you understand me, a quite recent understanding. If you would like to be more precise, it is quite easy to understand that Pope Paul VI very firmly, very clearly highlighted the care for ecology as a concern for believers, really understanding in the 60s and at the beginning of the 70s that nature was endangered. Then you have Pope John Paul II. He named Saint Francis of Assisi saint patron of those who care for ecology. And then, Pope Benedict, his teaching Caritas in Veritate, and even more Pope Francis. So it took off quite fast in only a few decades. Understand that the position of Christians is not so easy. We have this understanding of hope, maybe according to St. Paul, as a certainty. So there is hope. Our hope is a kind of joining of everything, of everybody in a new creation in God. This is quite far from our day-to-day daily life understanding.
Yes.
And maybe science tells us that a few billion years, the sun will either explode or switch off, so everything will be also the end. The question becomes, now, here, what hope do we have from Jesus, crucified, resurrected? And what hope can we be for the others? So the social teaching of the Church becomes a beacon a vector of hopes for the others. Imagine a corridor with two walls. Certainly, one wall would be big surprises, what you would never expect, what you would never be prepared for in geopolitics, economics, pandemic, I don't know, nuclear war, aliens, who knows?
Yeah.
The other wall would be what all of us are ready and willing to do together. If we all hope together to do something meaningful for the good of the human family, then maybe we know where this wall is going and we can maybe narrow the uncertainty and going a little bit closer to something meaningful, closer to the common good of the entire family. If we are not united, then this wall is weak. I don't know where is that wall. The path of uncertainty widens, and certainly it is more likely to go in devastation, in degradation, as you said. Remember, Pope Francis says we have one connected crisis, environment and societies. So soon or later, environmental degradation is connected to exploitation, civil unrest, geopolitical problems, institutional collapse, and human humiliation. Our dignity is threatened not only if we are slaves, exploited, lacking basic goods. This can be a way of human dignity exploited, humiliated, but our dignity is also humiliated if we can change things and we don't. If we have the power to influence for good and we don't. If we can educate or enact new good rules and we don't. So there's another level of dignity endangered. And there is really this very strong message in paragraph 160 of the encyclical letter Laudato Si, which is about the future, the meaning of our life. So certainly our main desire, our main mission is being at the service of the local church, whatever is possible to do. So this will be the plan and the strategy. Now in the field of ecology, there are maybe a few initiatives that deserves some mention. For the 5th anniversary of the encyclical letter Laudato Si, an online platform, the Laudato Si Action Platform, was launched by the Dicastery with many partners. So it still exists. It is possible to enroll as a diocese, a school, a family, a university, even a Catholic business or healthcare facility. And it will provide resources, tools, facilitate networking. And it is really a way of uniting forces inspired by the encyclical letter Laudato Si. It is available on several languages. So please follow our platform. I may add also that we had several activities related to water. For instance, the human right to drinking water and sanitation has been promoted very much by Laudato Si and later by the Holy See diplomacy. We have promoted an assessment of the water, hygiene and sanitation conditions in a sample of Catholic healthcare facilities. So this is the WASH in Catholic Healthcare Initiative. So we will continue accompanying healthcare facilities in several countries to address and improve the WASH conditions wherever it is needed. And this follows also the orientations Aqua Fons Vitae, which were released some years ago, beside other orientations on migrants and refugees. One last project, which is not really connected to our dicastery, rather, I like to say a project connected to Pope Francis himself and the Vatican State. In 2023, Pope Francis announced a very big reorganization of a Vatican territory named Castel Gandolfo, which is in the southeast of Rome. This is a peri-urban territory of 55 hectares. It hosts a farm for dairy products and, agriculture, gardens, and it's called the Vatican Villas. So everything is being reorganized. So the project is being developed in three directions: integral ecology education, circular and generative economy, as well as environmental sustainability. So over the years to come, it will be increasingly meaningful that church parishes, church supply chain, church businesses are consistent with what we preach.
So, many thanks to tuning into this series on the Dicasteries of the Roman Curia.
And just a reminder, if you would like to catch up on other episodes as well as this one, you can always subscribe to the Archdiocese YouTube channel. And also don't forget to share this video with someone.
Absolutely. So I'm Andre Achak. She is Beatrice de Cruz. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye-bye now.
Bye.